Good morning, Chavra. Today is the 11th day of Menachem Av, August 5th. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. And we're on page 69 in the Chayenu. In today's lesson, we continue along the theme of finding ways to love Hashem in the deepest possible way. One way is to remove the coarseness of the heart, remove the personal pleasures that prevent us from having a feeling remove the personal pleasures that prevent us from feeling the divine. And how do we do that? Through giving tzedakah, giving charity, giving our money away, even when it's hard. It is a sure way to pay back our debt that prevents our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ach mudas zois, yisurusa deleilahi b'surusa l'sata dafka. It's well known that if we want to arouse Hashem's blessing, it comes only in response to our initiation. So man's soul is stimulated from above only in response to the spiritual service that he initiates here below. As an elevation of Mayim Nukvin, we'll soon explain what that means. Our sages have taught that no drop of rain descends from above without two corresponding drops first descending from below, which means we have to do our part, and then Hashem reciprocates in kind and sends down the blessing. So from yesterday, we're talking about the bris milah. A man must therefore perform the beginning of the milah by himself. To remove the foreskin of the heart. Uklipas agasa v'daka, which is the coarse and the thin husk, which clothe and cover the innermost point. Amabish mechases al bechinas nekudas pnimis alev. She bechinas avas Hashem bechinas leman chayecha. She begolos v'tayvas elam hazeh, the innermost being, which is a love of Hashem in the spirit of the phrase, for the sake of your life. Again, the outer level is that which is attained through a thought process, your knowledge, your contemplation. But then the inner part is just a burning desire, which is above reason and understanding. So this love of Hashem being in exile amongst the desires of this world. So when a person does an Aveira, he schleps along God into this dark place in this galus, personal galus. Shehem gam kein bechinas leman chayecha likewise exists in the spirit of the phrase, for the sake of your life, bezelo mazeh kinuskelel, in the aspect of the universe which is opposite. You have two opposing counterparts. You have holiness and you have the opposite of holiness. It's possible for an individual to be so dedicated to his passions and desires that they become his entire life. But just as this state exists in holiness, it also has its counterpart in the opposite direction, whereby one is immersed in desires in the innermost core of his heart and being. You'll notice that sometimes I'm going to use the Hebrew word, and maybe you can help me translate it, you're invested, you're immersed in Torah, in a particular portion that you're learning, or you're all excited about certain davening, or there's a particular mitzvah project that you get excited about. Remember we did the tzitzis here. Everybody's like, when can we do it again? Everybody wants to do it, right? Elul's coming up. We're going to bring our mezuzahs and our tefillin to be checked. So everybody gets like all excited, especially during the holiday times. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, you're going to look over the machzor, you're going to daven and be very intense about it. And other times, maybe unfortunately during the summer, certain things slide and you're all into something which is the opposite of what you should be into, whatever that might be. So there's the corresponding negative force to the holy forces. So how do we break free? How do we break free from these desires which are opposite the holiness? This is achieved by giving tzedakah to Hashem from one's money, which is his life. We're going to say, without money, I can't live. So you're giving away your life to Hashem. Obviously, not all your money, but you're giving a source of your livelihood to Hashem. mitzumtzamim, udechika le shaita tuva, especially with a person whose income is limited and he's also very pressed for time. When he gives it away, he's giving away. So, if a person has tons of money, he has a huge bank account, so he gives a little bit extra, it doesn't really affect it. But when a person has a limited source of income and he takes from that money and he gives it away to tzedakah, it's his very life. This is especially so if he supports himself with the toil of his own hands. It's not like he's trading stocks and he just feels like, it's a few minutes of my time. I move this around and look, money just comes in. So a person wakes up every day and goes to work and teaches or works in the fields or as a farmer or cuts grass or lays bricks. He's doing it with his own hands. It's impossible that in his work he did not often involve the innermost part of his heart, the depths of his heart. So it's like, it's just taking the life out of me. He's really working, and at the end of the day, let's say he's making pizzas behind the counter and he's working from 8 a.m. to late at night. And he's like, every time I put in the oven, I burn my, it's like his life. As is the way of the world, when people are occupied with business and the like, they put all their heart and soul into it. I put my life into my work. I put my life into the business. People use that expression. And it's like that. Imagine the person loses his business one day, whether it's the economy or whether it gets stolen or whatever the case may be, or whatever, his warehouse burns down and all this stuff and he didn't have the right insurance, whatever it is. The person feels like his life was literally taken. Now, thank God, if he's healthy enough and he has enough seichel, he could realize that if he's still alive, he could always start over, but it's not easy to see it that way. Now imagine this person who worked with his hands, he has limited time, and he gives away money with joy to tzedakah, with joy and gladness of heart. He therefore and thereby redeems his soul from that pit. He's able to pull his soul, which is a part of Hashem, out of that dark place. He's able to redeem the soul from this captivity. The pasuk says in Proverbs, guard your heart with the greatest vigilance. Literally means guard your heart from every mishmar. Mishmar, perush, beis asurim, mishmar meaning a prison. So the pasuk is thus exhorting us to guard our hearts from being imprisoned and exiled in the klipa and sitra achra, in the dark exile, the personal exile. So through present charity that a person's giving, he's now redeeming his soul from this evil and dark imprisonment. This also explains the term priya, which suggests priyat chayiv, removing a debt. Inyan priyat chayiv shenis chayiv nes abed lachitzoyniyim shemashlu boy al nekudas pinimis levave, which this debt has become, which the person, has become indebted and subjected to the evil forces that ruled over him and his innermost part of his heart. And now we can understand the term that the Alter Rebbe used, Vishaveha b'tzedakah, and we will be redeemed. Israel will be redeemed. The captives shall be redeemed through tzedakah. So you give tzedakah, we redeem the captive, which is the soul, from the galus. So the takeaway for today is your inner core is often tied to your hard-earned money, because that's where your passion. You're spending all day with yourself. So you're spending most of your waking hours at work. If you're young and healthy and strong, you're going to work every day. If you work with your hands. So giving tzedakah from this money is giving from your inner core to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's also redeeming your soul from the dark place. It's a good start. Let's do it, Chavra. Have a wonderful day, and Zai Gesund. We'll see you tomorrow.